How do you determine the correct margins to cover operating costs so that you can submit and win more profitable bids? When is the right time to apply for a loan or a line of credit for your construction company? How can you bridge the communication gap between your field and the back office? These are just a few of the questions that we cover today with my guest, Timothy Wingate Jr., the founder and president of G+F Business and Financial Consulting. He is a licensed enrolled agent and construction accountant. The nice thing about Timothy is he worked for many years with his father, a licensed GC, and so he has plenty of firsthand knowledge of the construction industry. We're going to talk all things construction accounting. We're going to talk how to manage your cash flow. We're going to talk about how to make sure that profit doesn't fade at the end of the project, how you manage your margins. And we have a great discussion towards the end of the podcast on the perspective that the back office should have on the field and the perspective the field should have on the back office. And I think it's a really important piece of information that you need to lay hold of and communicate throughout your organization. And then the final thing to listen for, and I'm a big advocate of this, is we take a dive into how you can make sure that your AR, your accounts receivable, is not out of whack. If you build it, then you deserve to get paid for it. Timothy is an advocate of that. I'm an advocate of that. I know you are an advocate of that. So listen to that particular part of the interview for some additional insights. Feel free to share this episode with other construction company owners and leaders that would benefit from it. As always, thank you for listening to Construction Genius. I deeply value your support and enjoy my conversation today with Timothy. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Timothy, welcome to Construction Genius.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Excited. I'm a little tired because I'm on the East Coast. So this is like the end of the day for me.
Yeah, it's been a long day, I know. So I just want to dive right in. The audience is on the edge of its seat, ready to tap into your expertise. So what are the two things construction owners need to understand in their business?
Those two things will be estimating and scheduling. The reason why those are so important, and some people get it confused about what's more important. And it may surprise you that it is scheduling. Scheduling is the most important out of the two. Because if the schedule gets off track, that throws the whole project off whack. You can't invoice your clients on time because things are not completed for you to invoice them. You may not have materials on site on time, so therefore the guys can't work, and you may have paid the guys to be there. So it's just a lot of things that can happen from just a bad schedule that can really just kill your margins. And if you get estimating halfway decent and the schedule goes perfect, you'll be okay. But if you get estimating right and the schedule just goes to shambles, you're really in bad shape.
So that scheduling is tremendously important. The estimating is tremendously important. Tell me then, how does those two things tie in to the accounting side of the business? Because that's your specialty.
Yeah, so the way that ties in is, number one, I'm looking to see if the margins that you're generating from, or that you set out to generate in your estimate, have you actually met those margins at the end of the project? So I want to compare those. And then I want to see, are you actually marking up your projects, your estimates enough to get you a good margin to cover operating costs? Because you may be hitting your margins, but you may not have great margins to cover operating costs, or to do even better, to grow your company. And so that has to be first identified, like, hey, where are we trying to go? What's the vision? And what margins do we need to have to make sure we reach the goals we set out for the company? And so that's how estimating.
Okay, so in your experience, why do construction companies struggle to set their margins correctly?
Most of them don't have vision. You'll be surprised. As an accountant, I come in and I want to know your vision. There's no way that I could help you if I don't understand where you're going or where you want to go. And so most companies, when you come in, these guys are great, excellent tradesmen. They know how to go out, build a home, or go out and do whatever the specialty trade is, but they haven't been taught that this is what you need to do to grow your company. Going out and doing the work is one thing, but actually leading people, goal setting, meeting those goals, evaluating your KPIs, making sure that things are hitting the mark, marketing, just a lot of things that these guys, they haven't been equipped to learn those things and to make sure that their business becomes profitable and successful. So that's a big part.
So how do I determine the correct margins to cover operating costs so that I can submit and win more profitable bids?
Yes, that's a great question because it starts off with what I call desired operating profit margin. That's a fancy phrase for whatever I want my company to make. You need to know that first because every company is not made equal. Specialty trade is not made equal. I may want my company to be a $5 million construction company. The guy next to me may want to be a $50 million construction company. Margins got to be very, very different to support that vision or that goal. And so you need to identify first where you want to go. Then let's set some margins to help us get there. And then also let's make sure that our profit, that our estimates are yielding the margins in order to cover the operating costs and still yield a margin that we need to grow the company. And so also coupled with how many projects of that size with those margins do I need every month or every 6 months of every year or for the whole year to make sure that I cover operating costs and I meet the margins that I set out to meet to grow the company.
So one of the challenges that some companies have, not in all cases, but in some economies, there's the need to win work in order to keep your guys busy so they don't go work for the competition. And that need then begins to affect the margins because I drop my prices so that I can get a project. So that's just a reality in some circumstances. But how do you counsel your clients when they're faced with that kind of outside of their control economic headwind that they need to address and confront?
So when we encounter those things, we have a range. We may say, hey, this is the margin we set out to get because when we get that margin, we feel great. We can go home and celebrate with the family and feel like we had a great deal. Then you also have to have, hey, this is a margin that I'm okay with because it's still going to cover operating costs and it's still going to yield a profit. The profit just may not be as high as I would like. We can't go into jobs losing money or go into jobs and we can't cover operating costs because we just want to keep the guys busy. Just can't do that. We have to just either up our number of bids we're submitting out and just really go hard on the marketing side.
So as you're working with your clients and let's say they're consistently struggling with their estimates and the quality of their estimates, where are you seeing them fall down the most? Where are those mistakes being made that are hindering them from achieving those margins?
A lot of them don't take the time to really do a good takeoff. And that's when you're contacting suppliers saying, hey, this is how much material costs, or really going out and getting a couple of bids if you're subbing your work out. Some people just stick with this one company, this one guy, and don't continue to shop their prices. And so that's the first mistake, because if you don't understand the cost to do something, then right there off the back, you have already eaten into your margin.
Let's say you've won the work and the initial bid is one that you're satisfied with, that's within your range as far as the margins are concerned. You start building the work and you're seeing that margin erosion happen. What are the top 3 causes? I know you've hit on one with the scheduling issues, but what are the other couple of causes that you see that cause margin erosion?
So scheduling is one, of course. The other I see is not understanding your labor force true labor burden rate. You need to know how much it costs to put this guy out in the field, and you just got to understand that. If I have to choose a third one, because one is not popping up in my head right now, because those are the 2 major ones, I have to come back to that.
Yeah, so let me supply one and let's see what you think about it. And this often happens at the end of the job, right? Because it seems like at the beginning of the job, there's this big push, and then in the middle of the job, there's some momentum. and we're getting stuff done. And then let's say I'm on the last month or a couple weeks of the job, and then all of a sudden another job is starting. So I take my A crew off of here and I go put them on the other job. And then all of a sudden I've got my B players on this last job. And either I don't have a punch list or the punch list is really long and I'm not able to finish things up, and it drags and it drags and it drags. Does that sound familiar?
That sounds familiar. And I kind of put that in the seat of good processes in place, like onboarding processes, closeout processes to the project, just really having those things written out or somehow templated out in your project management system, because those things should be automatic and you shouldn't have to recreate them every time you start a new job. So processes are very important for construction companies, and they need to be something that's written out. And most of these guys don't have it written out.
That's great. Now, I'd like to go back to the labor rate. I think there's one way that construction companies miss profit opportunities, and they do it when they allow highly paid workers to do tasks that fall below how much they're being paid. And I can give you multiple examples. So let's say you have a very skilled operator who should be operating a piece of equipment, but because of issues with scheduling or issues with ordering the work, there he is or there she is doing like the equivalent of sweeping floors. So I'm paying $100, $200 an hour for this guy or gal, and they're doing a $20 to $40 an hour task. Is that something that you see in your interactions with construction companies as well?
It's very common because a lot of times you will see, especially with the smaller companies, the owners are doing those things. And and the owner should be the highest paid person on staff. And a lot of times they don't even account for their own salaries inside of their estimates, because some owners are doing project management and they haven't factored that in. Some of them are doing admin work and they haven't factored that in. So those things are not even inside of the estimate. The customer's not even paying for. And so that's another issue.
Yep. So you've got to have the right person doing the right tasks in order to maintain those profit margins.
Correct. You must have that. Otherwise, you're overpaying for everything.
So another thing I'd like to, you were talking about the vision of a company. So let's say my vision is maybe I am a $10 million contractor right now, but I'm going to seek to grow in the next 3 to 5 years from 10 million to 50 million and maybe even beyond that. I know plenty of clients who have that kind of trajectory or that kind of desire. When is the right time to apply for a loan or a line of credit in order to be able to manage that growth curve?
Yes, that's a great question. Make sure, number one, you have a great pipeline of work. Number two, you pretty much got the processes down. Like, you know how to start a job and close a job out very well. And you are profitable already. You're not getting a loan or a line of credit to become profitable. You're already profitable. Because that's what the banks want to see. That's what these lenders want to hear. They want to see your profit and loss balance sheet. They want to see healthy numbers. And too many times I've come across contractors who say, hey, I want a loan or I want a line of credit. And they're not even in position to get a loan or line of credit. Their personal credit is not great. Their business numbers don't look great. And it's like, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news here. You're not ready right now. You're not ready today. We got to get you profitable. So there's some other things broken inside of your business that we need to fix.
So let's assume someone is profitable. They qualify for the line of credit. What are some of the key mistakes that contractors make when they're utilizing a line of credit that kind of bite them in the butt and again, contribute to that overall profit fade in a company?
One thing is going out to purchase equipment, hoping that with that purchase, it's going to get you more work. That's one problem, because you need to know the work is already there. If we just sign $1 million contract that now requires us to go out and buy this truck, because then now that makes sense. Like, let's go buy the truck because we have the contract, but let's not get the truck in hopes that we're going to get the contract. That's one problem. Another problem is I haven't gotten this pay app approved yet, but I need to pay my guys Friday. Oh, so we're going to draw down on the line and we don't even know the money is coming? That's a huge problem. So we need to have a different conversation. We need to be working on getting that pay app approved. And we may have to have a tough conversation with our staff if we haven't established a savings account. That's why a big thing of mine is to come into a construction company and say, hey, we need to establish a savings account. And we need to have money in there, because these guys, they'll have the account, but it has a zero balance.
As you begin to talk about, the phrase that popped into my head right away is accounts receivable.
Yeah.
Why is it that construction companies struggle to keep up with their accounts receivable?
These guys, number one, they're so busy out there in the field that when they get home, they're just tired. Some forget, some feel like they're too busy, and they may not have even realized, but they need help. And these guys are macho men. And, I haven't come across any women, so sorry, hope I didn't offend any women out there. But these guys, they just have a hard time asking for help and admitting that, hey, I need help in this area. So that's a big thing, because there's a big problem when you're saying you don't have enough time to issue an invoice. That should be a big red flag. I'm sitting on 100,000 plus of accounts receivables that I haven't even sent out yet. And then that's where the things bottleneck, because guess what? You're still paying your guys. And now you run into that problem where, hey, I need this pay app approved, but I've been having the guys work, and I've been paying them. I've been just killing my cash. And so now I feel forced to draw down from that line.
Hey, this is Eric. I hope you're enjoying the conversation with Timothy. I know that I am. And we've reached the point in the show where I remind you about my book. Yes, indeed, Construction Genius. The great thing about this book is it's no BS. In other words, when you read it, you'll be able to relate to it right away, because I talk about things that go on in construction businesses every single day. We do straight talk in this book and straight advice to help you to be a better leader and to build a more successful company. So this is what you do. You run out to Amazon, you go and get yourself a copy. You get a copy for every one of the leaders in your organization. You guys read the book together. And then you get together on a monthly basis for half an hour to an hour, and you say, okay, so we've read a couple of chapters here. What are our number one takeaways from the book? And what are we going to do to be better leaders as a result of it? You make incremental change over time. And for an investment of $20 per copy, you can have an exponential positive impact in your organization. So go out to Amazon, get the book. You can go to Audible if you like to listen to audiobooks. I know one of my clients, he drives around Texas listening to the book, and it tremendously helps him not only pass the time, but improve his business. I know it will do the same for you. So go and get the book wherever you get books, but particularly on Amazon. And now, let's get back to my conversation with Timothy. Let me ask you this then. Let's assume that I have an accounts receivable, accounts payable clerk or department in place, and I'm still having issues getting cash in the door for the work that I've done. What advice would you give a construction company owner to tune up the accounts receivable department?
It should be something that's, number one, we should make sure that we have everything in place to get the pay app approved. So making sure that everything contractually has been satisfied. And then you need to make sure that the follow-up is happening. And we got to be on these, whoever the clerk is, and just making sure that they're following up what is needed. These people need to get tired of hearing your voice or seeing your emails.
So that persistence is absolutely essential.
It is.
So construction is a sort of a unique animal. What makes a construction accountant different from a traditional accountant?
Man, I talked about a lot of it already, but it's just knowing the nuances of the construction industry. Traditional accountants, we just taught debits and credits, expenses and income, that type of thing, and accounts receivable, accounts payable. But construction accountants are really either masters at cost accounting, very close. And cost accounting is a very specialized type of accounting to make sure that everything is being accounted for a particular project. And another thing too, what makes a construction accountant different is most of us are managerial accountants, meaning that we are looking at these reports to make management decisions. And that's what you need in a construction company. You need someone to help you interpret the numbers so you can make decisions out on the field.
What are the key 2 or 3 metrics that every construction company owner should be looking at every single week that indicate the health of his or her business?
We need to be looking at our work in progress report, making sure that we're not underbilled. So that's one thing. Then the other thing too, we need to make sure that we're hitting our numbers as far as how many bids we've submitted for the month or the week, and making sure that we're meeting that quota, and definitely looking at the closing rate. Are we closing 20%, 10%? What is that? So those are kind of like the top 3 for me.
Okay, so let's talk about underbilling, overbilling. Describe your philosophy with regards to underbilling and overbilling that you like to communicate to your clients and you like to see in a healthy construction company.
Yeah, in a healthy construction company, I like to see us a little bit overbuild. That's just where we want. That lets me know that we are, number one, probably the schedule is going great because we are completing things on time. And then that tells me another thing. The invoices are going out on time. We're getting paid on time. So that turnover ratio is great from how many days it takes us to get paid. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. If we're underbilled, man, we may have a ton of problems. We may have problems out in the field that we're not getting work done on time. We may have problems that we're not getting invoices out on time. We may be in a slump where the weather is killing us and we're just stuck. So we need to figure some things out. So it's just a lot of things that's happening when we see underbillings. But we definitely want to see healthy overbill. We want to be crazily overbilled because then the customers get really upset about that. But we want to be right there at the sweet spot.
Obviously, then, if I'm slightly overbilled, that helps me with my cash flow. What are some key concepts in addition to that slight overbilling that a construction company owner needs to understand in order to make sure their cash flow is as healthy as possible?
Number one, you need to have great projections as to how many jobs you need to have closed by a certain time. So you need to understand where that needs to be, how many jobs are in the pipeline. You need to understand how much labor is going to be required to fulfill those obligations. So that way you can quickly identify, hey, that job, we may need to hire some more men, or we may need to move some things around. So you need to just have a real good touch on just where we are as it relates to contracts, projects, what's coming down the pipe, what we already have. How is the labor force strained right now? Is it not? Do we need more men? That type of thing.
Okay, excellent. Because when we're thinking about construction accounting, we're often thinking about sort of the inner guts of the business. But a lot of what you've described so far, Timothy, is stuff at the front end of the business, sort of the top end of the funnel, the amount of work I'm bidding and the hit rate that I'm getting. That has obviously a tremendous impact on internal operations of the business. But we don't necessarily think of that primarily in our minds when we're thinking about the accounting of construction.
Yeah, I hope that everybody find it interesting that I am an accountant, but I'm talking so much about what's happening out in the field, what's happening with scheduling, with estimating, with bids and closing rates and those type of things, because that's really what makes a construction accountant different from a traditional accountant. We have to be forward thinking. We can't be looking at things historical or just waiting to close the month in out and then tell you what happened. No, we need to be forward thinking with you, planning, strategizing. And that's where the managerial accounting skills come into play.
So it's interesting because it's one thing to be able to count the beans. It's another thing to be able to interpret what the number of beans that you have is telling you about how successful your business is and what moves you need to make.
Correct. Absolutely. And I love that. You have to have someone who's passionate about that, because I came up in the construction industry. My dad, he's been in it since 1984. Been licensed. So I understand what it feels like from a child's perspective, going through the ups and downs, and then seeing him as an adult go through the ups and downs. And I just seen where the pitfalls were, and then also got some mentorship from him to understand that, hey, this is some of the common pain points of most construction companies. And these are some of the things that we deal with. These are the emotions that we deal with. So it just helped me understand who I'm working with a whole lot more just by having him in my life.
That's awesome. So what led you to the numbers side of the business coming from that background of general contracting?
Come on, Eric. I wasn't built to work in the sun.
Get me out of the sun.
Get me right completely. So I quickly learned after working summer after summer after summer in the sun that being out in the field was not for me.
That is beautiful.
I had definitely a knack for numbers and for strategy. So I love understanding the inner workings of why something does what it does. And that was always me. And that's kind of how I latched on to the accounting field. I mean, definitely took a unorthodox path to accounting, but definitely once I landed, perfect fit for me.
So it's interesting because of your background, you understand what's going on in the field. But then you understand, you're familiar with the back office aspect of it. And a lot of times, in construction, it's like, I mean, we all know that our money's made in the field, and the guys and gals in the field can be looking at the people in the back office and thinking, oh, they're just always trying to get in my way or tell me what to do and all that kind of stuff. So how can we bridge that communication gap between the field and the back office?
The way we do that, we have to leverage technology, which a lot of construction companies haven't embraced just yet. They're going to embrace it soon because you're going to be forced to at some point. But when you still working out of Excel spreadsheets or pen and paper, those type of things, you're just creating lag. And that's where the problems start to occur because things are not getting to the back office in a timely manner. We don't know, things are coming up missing. We don't know where they are. We have to ask 1,000 questions about something that happened 2 weeks ago because we just found out about it 2 weeks later. That's where the problem lies. But when you have great technology that allows you to communicate real time, that allows you to capture data real time, it just makes everybody on the same playing field and everybody's can just seeing eye to eye with everything for the most part.
So you have to be able to leverage technology in such a way that the field sees the benefit of it, from what I'm hearing from you.
Correct. And they're going to see the benefit because we will have less questions about things that happened weeks ago or days ago and you can't remember.
I mean, obviously, you'd be comfortable going onto a job site. You wouldn't necessarily stick out like a sore thumb there. But do you ever see construction companies taking out the back office people who never really get onto a job site and saying, hey, I just want you to show you what's going on every day so you kind of get a feel for what the guys in the field are going through?
I've never seen it. I don't see it much. It's like two separate lives. And I think if more of that happens, they will start to appreciate one another and also understand each other a lot better. Because a lot of the miscommunication has happened because both parties are not understood or being understood, feel like they're being treated fairly or their work is appreciated, that type of thing. And they need to kind of have a job shadowing day on both sides.
That's a good idea. What would be the one thing you would tell back office people to help them appreciate the guys and gals in the field more?
I would say these guys are moving in a very fast-paced environment, and they're dealing with a lot of the social aspects of the business that we don't necessarily deal with. Those are, talking with the subs, talking with customers. A bunch of stuff is being thrown at them all the time, and sometimes they have to make very quick and efficient decisions, and they're doing that at the drop of a dime. So just be patient with them. Be patient with them and understand that, hey, they're doing the best that they can, but also help them just bridge the gap a little bit better. Like teach them how to communicate with you, what you need from them, and just be consistent. It's just like habits are very hard to change. Like with your children, you have to tell them 1,000 times, and you never get tired of telling your children things over and over because you want them to be the best. So you would just keep telling them over and over, hey, pick this up, do this different. And that's what you need to do with these guys out in the field. Just keep telling them over and over, be patient with them, and they'll eventually come around because they're not purposely trying to make your job hard. This is just so different that they need someone to hold their hand and help them.
Okay, so the word to the back office when they're thinking about the field is patience. I like that. What is the word for the field when they think about the back office and they're thinking, dude, they don't even know what reality is. Let me tell them what's up, really.
Right.
So what's the word for the field to the office?
Appreciation.
Okay, tell me about that.
These guys and girls are doing so much to, number one, get you paid, to get you certified, to make sure that the state have what they need, local municipalities have what they need, and you need to appreciate that. Because if they feel that appreciation from you, they will feel like they're being understood, and you can get so much more out of them because they will be able to hear you.
I like that. So patience, back office to the field, appreciation, field to the back office.
Yes. They just happen to rhyme.
That's great. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about your business, what you do, who you help, and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, so primarily I'm working with guys who are doing commercial work or they're either doing high-end residential work. They've been in business for a while. Most of the guys have been in business that I'm working with 10 plus years, and they're ready to change. They're ready to grow. They're tired of doing things the old school way, and they want to tap into the new school. You're not going to forget the old school way of doing things out in the field, but you do have to adopt some of the new ways of doing things in the back office. And that's kind of where I come into play. And I'm coming in with the full service, accounting, bookkeeping, tax, all those things, so we can help you in field service. And so the thing that people love the most, I should say, what I hear, is how we are able to integrate all of this technology, because we're using Build-A-Trend, we're using BillPay.com, we're using Dex, we're using QuickBooks Online, and we're integrating all these things so they can talk, and also everybody's job easier. Now, most of my guys are approving pay apps right from their phone, right in the field. Simple things like that. Approving payroll right from their phone. Approving time cards right from the phone. And so those things make the job easy. We pay subs, direct deposit. We're not having to go to the office, have the sub drive to where we are, pick up a check. Somebody has to be there to give it to them, and it's all that type of stuff. These subs, they finish the job, the pay app is approved, boom, direct deposit happens. They don't have to take that time out of their day to come to our office to pick up a check or to wait for it to come in the mail. How many people have done that? And then once you wait to come in the mail, then you have to deposit into the bank, and the bank going to put a bank hold on it, depending on how big the check is. It just delays a lot of stuff. So subs like working with you more because they get paid on time and they get paid faster. So just a lot of stuff like that is what we do and how we help construction companies to just grow their companies and just take it to the next level.
Right on. So last question here then. What are the top 2 or 3 things that I, as a construction company owner, should be looking for when I'm hiring a new construction company, outsourcing accountant, or something like that? What are the top 2 or 3 things I should be looking for?
Number one, they should be interested in where you're trying to take your business. They should ask questions about that. Number 2, they should be recommending some project management system for you to use. So you should be working with a project management system. And then number 3, their communication should be superb. Like, you shouldn't feel like I have to, send them an email and hope that they will respond within a week.
Excellent. So understand your vision, have insight really into the construction business itself, and be able to give recommendations based on the realities of construction. And then third, be responsive.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's terrific. Excellent. Awesome, Timothy. Tell us where we can get in touch with you if someone wants to learn more about your business and get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, so I'm on 3 major social media platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You also can go to my website, which is g+f.com, or you can be redirected from constructionfinancialblueprint.com. Also, I have a YouTube page, so you can see some videos there. Type in the search bar at GPLUSF, and that's at G+F. And then you'll pull up my YouTube page. You'll see some more videos and me talking about a little bit of things that we offer and provide for our services. And so, yeah, those are the major ways to get in touch with me.
Excellent. And we will have links in the show notes to your Facebook, Instagram, website, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And so, Timothy, people will be able to get in touch with you. I really, really appreciate it. Now, my understanding is you're in West Palm Beach, Florida?
I'm in sunny West Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay, so let's say I'm visiting West Palm Beach, Florida. Timothy, what is the one restaurant I've got to hit?
The one restaurant you will have to hit is Lenora's. It's an Italian restaurant, and their food is excellent.
What's the one thing I should order at Lenora's in West Palm Beach?
Well, I will always say you can't go wrong with the bolognese. Whatever pasta you want to choose, but their bolognese sauce is to die for, and their sangria is another thing that's a killer. So if you're a wine drinker.
That's cool. Just went to the website, 2023 Best of the Best in Palm Beach County, Lenora's. We're going to put a link in the show notes.
Great. Tell me how it goes if you ever get in contact with me. I'd love to hear.
That's beautiful. Timothy, thanks for joining us today on Construction Genius. Really appreciate your time and insights.
Hey, love to be here. Thank you, Eric, for having me on. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thank you for listening to my interview with Timothy. I trust you have a number of takeaways that will help you to dial in the accounting side of your construction business and bridge some of those communication gaps between the back office and the field. Feel free to share this episode with other people who you think would benefit. Of course, another request before you bounce away. Please give the show a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts. An honest rating or review is appreciated, anywhere between 1 and 5 stars, whatever you think we've earned. And the reason why I'd like you to do that is because it helps Construction Genius to be seen across the interwebs. And I know that this podcast has a tremendous positive impact on the industry, and I want that to continue to happen, and I want it to deepen. And your review can contribute to that. So please give us a review and a rating wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Check out all the links in the show notes to Timothy's website, and I'll catch you on the next episode.